Hello, hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are connecting from. I'm Juliana Rabi, career coach for remote jobs, and today we are going to talk about this topic that you can see here, networking on LinkedIn, how to finally get the results you want. So if you know already the importance of networking online and offline, you are very welcome here. We are going to focus on the online part of network, especially specifically on LinkedIn platform, because of course you can network in different platforms. But today the presentation is going to be specifically about how to network on LinkedIn and get the results you want. So everyone who is joining live is very welcome. I see Shoshana here. Hi, how are you doing? From Uganda. Very nice. You're very welcome. If you're watching live, let me know in the chat, please, where are you connecting from? Like Shoshana just did. Thank you for that. And if you're watching the recording, you can also comment on the chat. I will read that later also. I just want to double check here the technical part just to see if it's working out well. It also goes to, so okay, seems to be fine. And let me see on LinkedIn here. Yeah, there's a lot of technical things that I need to do here that you don't see, but that are happening here from my side. So, Shoshana, you are watching me on LinkedIn, right? I have another person. Nice, from South Carolina in the United States. So I'm assuming that LinkedIn is everything good because people are chatting with me on LinkedIn. So you're all very welcome. We are going to talk about LinkedIn and how to network on LinkedIn, um, yeah, and get the results that you want. So this is the topic of this live today, networking on LinkedIn, how to finally get the results you want. As I said before, I'm Juliana Rabi. I am a career coach for remote jobs. I worked as, quick presentation about myself, right? I worked as a recruiter for 15 years. Yes, working for different companies, international companies, interviewing, recruiting people from all over the world, actually. My background is in psychology and human resources, and I have been working remotely since 2014. Yeah, way before the pandemic started. So 9 years already that I have been working remotely. And I currently help professionals to land a remote job faster. Okay. LinkedIn present, was and is present in my life, right? My professional life since many years ago. Hi, Maya. Maya from Georgia. Nice to have you here. LinkedIn has been present in my life in different ways, in different stages. So sometimes there were moments I was looking for a job, so I used LinkedIn to help me to land a job faster. I also used LinkedIn when I was a recruiter to search for candidates. So it was a tool as a recruiter also. And currently I use LinkedIn to talk with my clients to spread the word about networking as I'm doing today, but also remote job, resume, job interviews, and everything career related. So LinkedIn has been a very helpful tool for me. That's why I want to share about networking here. And one comment, and then we're going to start. Just give it a couple of minutes because I know that some people might be joining already. Um, some people say that they don't feel comfortable using LinkedIn, that they don't like the platform, or they are too busy to learn about it. And I mean, I totally get it. I don't work for LinkedIn. I don't get paid, from LinkedIn to promote the platform. But I always say this: it is a tool that is available, a tool to connect with people, a tool to get visibility, a tool to achieve your career goals. So even if you don't love it, you don't need to love it. It doesn't need to be like a favorite platform. It's not about this. It's just like understanding how strategic using LinkedIn can be and make the most of it, because then you can benefit from LinkedIn in your career. That's the whole point. So you don't need to love LinkedIn, but if you decide to ignore it completely, then probably your visibility, your opportunity to reach out directly to some key people that you might need in this journey will be very limited. So let's just embrace LinkedIn as a tool that is here, everything I'm going to share is applicable to the free version of LinkedIn. So you don't need to pay a premium profile to implement what I'm going to share today. There are some advantages of the LinkedIn paid profile, some disadvantages, but that's not what I'm going to cover in this live. I want to share practical ways for you to network, for you to understand the power of this platform and things that you can implement as soon as this live is over. Okay, so let's start the presentation that I prepared for you. I want to invite you to use the chat as much as you need it. So I will be checking it from time to time. Feel free to ask me questions in the chat. I will read them, I will answer them. Feel free to also comment. Maybe something that I'm sharing in the presentation resonates a lot with you. Maybe you have an example to share. Maybe you faced a similar situation at the moment. So in any case, if what I'm sharing on the screen makes sense to you, just share in the chat so we can all learn together. We can all keep this as a conversation. Otherwise it feels a bit lonely, me here talking alone. So say hi from time to time, send me some love in the chat and some comments, some questions, some feedback. All right, so let's do this. Yes, I think this is better for you to see the presentation. So the topic today is networking on LinkedIn, how to finally get the results you want. So let's do this. Let's bring some numbers first, please. I know that some people, they really need numbers to process the information, right? People that have like a more logical mindset. So I brought numbers here for those people. But in general, I think those numbers are very impressive, right? So a lot of business is done on LinkedIn, believe it or not, because it has pretty much more than 930 million users. So it's a lot of people, right? They are on LinkedIn from all over the world, of course, but there are some countries that they are the ones that have more LinkedIn users. I guess it has to do with the size of the country. So if you think about the US, India and Brazil, they are very big countries, right? So definitely they have a bigger population. So they have more people that signed in on LinkedIn. But then the fourth country, so the first one with more users is the US, United States, then it's India, then it's Brazil. But then the fourth, it's kind of a surprise for me at least, because it is the UK, United Kingdom, which is a very small country, especially compared to the US, India, and Brazil. But UK is the fourth country with more LinkedIn users, right? I also heard a few times people saying, "Oh, but LinkedIn is a too formal platform. It's only for people in corporation. It's for older people and all of that." Look, it's not. This data I got from a LinkedIn report from 2023, so from this year, it's updated. 60% of the global users of LinkedIn, they are millennials. They have between 25 and 35 years old. So forget about if you ever thought LinkedIn is for old people, LinkedIn is only for corporation. LinkedIn does just works in some countries or for some specific jobs or industries. Well, I think those numbers are proving that LinkedIn is a big thing, is spread in different countries, and a lot of people are there. So let's see how to make the most of it. Before we keep going, I want to share some important news. I'm very happy about those news, by the way. So let me share that with you. If you want to have my full fully access to my brain, my expertise, my full support in your remote job search, I will be opening registrations for my group mentoring. So I open registrations for this group just a few times per year, and it's happening again now. So the timing is perfect. 23rd of May, you already registered to be part of my group mentoring. So we are going to work together for 2 months with weekly calls with my full support on a private community, pre-recorded materials. I'll be answering your questions directly in the community. So I'll be supporting you for 2 months in your remote job search. So if this is something that seems interesting to you, if you are already considering, oh, maybe at some point I want to work with Juliana, this is a great moment to do it. Okay, so just drop me a message. on LinkedIn. Don't leave the live yet. Stay here. I have a lot to share. But remember, 23rd of May is the day I'm opening registrations for my group mentoring. I would love to share more details with you. What is included? How is it structured? The investment, all of that. Feel free to reach out to me and I will give you all the details, okay? So looking forward to meet some of you in my group mentoring. Back to LinkedIn now, right? 9 millions of LinkedIn users, they are senior level influencers. Let me explain this. It's not influencer like influencer on TikTok or Instagram. It's not that. Influencers means that they have influence in the company, the organization they work for. So they can pretty much decide, in other words, if they want to hire you or if they want to hire the other person. They can decide about going for a professional or another one. They can decide about collaborating with one company or another company. So they have power, they have voice in the companies they work for. They are influencers in this way. They can make decisions about hiring you, about hiring your services, about having you as a freelancer, as a collaborator in their company, okay? Yeah, sorry, 9 million are in the senior level positions, they are influencers, and then 63 millions, they are decision making. So they actually decide yes or no, you or the other person. So think with me, if you are searching for a job at the moment, if you work as a freelancer, so you need clients, you need companies, you need people to hire your services, right? You provide services to them. Or if you have a company and you provide services to other companies, like a B2B service, right? How come you're not on LinkedIn? Or let me say, how come you're not making the most of LinkedIn? Because as you saw, people who will decide about working with you or with someone else, they are on LinkedIn. The question is, are you on LinkedIn? And the second question is, how are you showing up as a professional, as a job seeker, as a freelancer? Because people who will make decisions about who to hire, they are there. So they need to know you, they need to trust you, and then eventually they can decide to hire you, right? There is one thing, I'm not sure if you are familiar with this terminology, but maybe you are familiar with the feeling. So let me explain what is that. It's called imposter syndrome. Do you know what is that? Let me know in the chat if you know what is imposter syndrome. The name is a bit like, oh, that's a weird name, but this happens more often than I wish. So let me know in the chat if you know what is imposter syndrome and if you feel like that sometimes, because if you just know but it doesn't affect you, good. But the problem is when we feel like I have imposter syndrome. Let me explain what is that. Imposter syndrome is when you start doubting yourself in different levels, okay? You start doubting your own skills, your capability of doing something. You fear that if people know about you, if people hear you, if people hire you, they will consider you a fraud. Like they will at some point realize that, oof, they made the wrong decision. You're not as good as they thought you were. You're not qualified for that. So you also, if you have imposter syndrome, you tend to attribute success, like everything good, everything positive, all the achievements you had in your career, you tend to think that, oh, it was just out of luck. It was not because I'm good. It's not because I'm competent. It's not because I have the skills. Because I don't know, bit of luck, just a coincidence, and then it happened to me. So those are some of the characteristics in a very short way of people who suffer from imposter syndrome. So it's not a physical disease, it's here, but it's very serious. And then in this graphic, it's a funny one, right? It's like the green one is people who get the imposter syndrome. And then the orange one is other people who get imposter syndrome. And blue one is like literally everyone else. They also get imposter syndrome. This is a funny graphic just to say that most likely at some point of your life, of your career journey, you will feel like, oh, I'm not sure if I can do that. I'm not sure if I'm qualified. Am I really good enough to apply for this job? Oh, what if they hire me, they pay me all this money, and then I don't deliver what they're looking for? So it's normal to feel as imposter syndrome, even if you are a highly qualified professional. So if you're feeling like that, I hear you. I feel like that several times. It happens from time to time. So maybe you felt like that before, maybe you're feeling now. So it doesn't mean that you're terrible in your job, in your career. No, it's not what it means. It's all here. You start doubting yourself and you feel insecure. Then you close yourself to opportunities. Then the way you show yourself get also affected. So it's all connected. But as you can see in this funny graphic, uh, everyone, you and me and everybody else at some point probably will feel imposter syndrome. So identify it, but move on, keep going, because it is present to all of us, right? The way it shows up when we are talking about specifically like imposter syndrome related to networking on LinkedIn is that you feel or you think like that online networking feels awkward. It doesn't work for me. Have you ever said something like that? Let me know in the chat. I'm curious because those phrases, I heard them from people who told me. I didn't come up with those phrases, okay? I heard them like word by word from different people. So I'm wondering if you watching here, if you ever thought like that, if you ever felt like that. You might think like, I'm okay with networking in a personal event, like if I have a drink in my hands and other people around, but doing it online feels like I'm forcing the situation. I spoke to someone this morning and she told me that she doesn't want to bother people when she's networking. Look at that, such a strong feeling, right? If I'm networking, I'm bothering people. So do you also feel like that you're bothering people, that you're forcing the situation? It feels awkward, it doesn't work out for you. So this is how a lot of people think about networking on LinkedIn. And when they do, this is the one of the symptoms of imposter syndrome. So if you're feeling like that, you do have imposter syndrome regarding networking. But that's fine because you're going to see different ways to overcome that, to overcome the imposter syndrome. But it's important that you identify, so you don't need to pretend you're perfect. Nobody's perfect. So when you identify, yeah, I'm actually feeling like, vulnerable, awkward, not comfortable when it comes to networking, LinkedIn, it feels like I'm forcing, begging, bothering people. That's fine. Identify that, but then come with me to look for the solution for that, okay? Because I get it that working online can be weird, but it's only weird until someone makes the first step. A lot of people tell me like, oh, I won't connect with someone I don't know on LinkedIn. And I'm like, so what is stopping you from knowing that person? Well, someone needs to make the move. Someone needs to send a connection request. Someone needs to comment on a post. That's it. So until someone makes the first step, I get it. It feels a bit awkward. But if you make the first step, to connect to people on LinkedIn, especially the ones that strategically make sense to you, then it's not awkward anymore. It's not weird anymore. So keep that in mind. It can be more simple than you think. So I understand if you are having issues with networking. I will share different strategies for you to overcome them. Just embrace this idea. This is a very simple but powerful slide here. Networking online can be weird until someone makes the first step. And I invite you to be the one making the first step to cut the weird off out of the situation, okay? How can people start feeling less weird about networking on LinkedIn, right? How to make the first steps towards, I feel comfortable, I'm okay, or I'm even enjoying networking on LinkedIn. So first, please accept that there is a big potential on LinkedIn. As I showed the numbers at the beginning, decision makers are there. A huge population is on LinkedIn, people from different countries. So there is a high chance, right, that your next company is on LinkedIn, that the person who will decide to hire your services is on LinkedIn. So there is a big potential on LinkedIn, definitely. Then you also need to leave your comfort zone and try to enjoy the process. I would say try to go over the process initially, and at some point when you're already mastering the steps, then put as a goal to enjoy the process. But definitely you need to leave your comfort zone, because very few people feel extremely comfortable networking, especially if it is online. So it will require a little bit of uncomfortable feelings from your side, but that's fine. That's the way to go. Also, talk to warm leads. Lead is someone that is a potential buyer for you, someone that potentially can hire your services. We can also say that for job seekers, like companies that potentially could hire you, companies that you are interested, companies that you meet the requirements for the positions they have open. So talk to those people. Once you identify key people on LinkedIn, don't just say, oh yeah, I know who I should talk to. Go there and talk to the person. They are warm. They are like more more open, right, to talk to you, to know you, and to make business, hire you eventually. Okay, and show your face. If you're not active on LinkedIn, people won't know you, people won't remember you. So you need to show your face. It doesn't necessarily need to be the face. I mean, there is a profile photo, but I'm not saying you necessarily need to post videos on LinkedIn. That's not the thing. But show up with content, with comments, with conversations, with endorsements, writing recommendations. So it's not only your face, but it's like show yourself on LinkedIn. Okay, and in this photo you can see where your comfort zone will keep you in a very small circle, very limited, and far away from the circle of where the magic happens. The magic happens outside of your comfort zone, outside of the area that you are familiar with, you have been for a while, that it feels good, but there is no space for growth. So remember, where the magic happens is outside of your comfort zone, and that's what I invite you to give it a try and experience that. Okay. Let me see. Yeah, someone said here, I experience it at least once a day, the imposter syndrome. Me too. Not every day, but several days. So it does happen. It is normal. There is nothing wrong with you or me. It's just like understanding that, we can be amazing professionals and still feel imposter syndrome. So we got to keep going with our lives and doing things, because otherwise we get paralyzed and it will never go away. That's the thing. Rafai said, absolutely right. Thank you for sharing this invaluable experience. Thanks for being here. Nice, nice. Keep the comments going, your insights, your questions, okay? While I keep going here. Let me share some important things you need to know about LinkedIn before you start networking. So the way I designed this presentation is considering that you're not at all networking on LinkedIn. But you might say, Juliana, I do a little bit of networking on LinkedIn, didn't have much results, or from time to time I have results. Even better, amazing. So if you're already networking on LinkedIn, I clap for you. That's good. But I also want to contemplate the ones that are so paralyzed with fear, with insecurity, with imposter syndrome that they haven't made any move to network on LinkedIn. So I'm going to share, like, before you start networking on LinkedIn, some things for you to do, for you to check. And if you are already networking on LinkedIn, I invite you to review, to double check if you are already following those steps. Because maybe you are networking, but you can, increase slightly the way you're doing. You can twist some small detail that will make the difference out there. So this part is for everyone, also you who is already networking on LinkedIn. But let's talk about people who haven't started networking on LinkedIn yet. That's fine. You're going to change this today, because you're going to learn the important things you need to do before you start networking, and then you're ready to network. So number one is the more you keep your profile open, the better. And what I mean by open profile is the settings, okay, the configuration of your profile. Very often I see people on LinkedIn that, for example, their profile photo is not visible. So I just see like a round thing, but no photo there. Why is that? Because in the configuration, the person chose to remain the photo like hidden. But Juliana, I not even knew it was possible. Well, you might not even know, but your profile might be configured like that. So you want to take some time to check all the settings on LinkedIn. Sometimes people keep their family name, like their surname, hidden. So for example, my name is Juliana Rabi. This is my full name, right? So if I want to keep it hidden, the surname, when you connect with me on LinkedIn, when you see me on LinkedIn, you will only see Juliana R dot, not Rabi, not my full name, just the first name. So those things, at the end of the day, they just make it more complicated for people to find you, to identify you, to recognize you. So my suggestion is that the more you keep your profile open, the better. So check the settings and ensure, check everything, all the options. You just read and you see if you want to, open it, make it visible or not. But some people have some settings in their profile that they don't even know about, and it's not helping them to get the visibility that they can get on LinkedIn. So please review your settings and see how things are configured there, okay? Another important thing that you should do before you start networking, because when you start networking, you attract more visibility to your profile, right? So before that, choose the information you want to share in the platform. What I mean by that is, if you say like, Julian, if my current manager reads this phrase I wrote on LinkedIn, I will be in trouble. I'm not comfortable with that. I hope nobody from my company reads my profile. Well, you cannot prevent that. So just keep on your LinkedIn profile information you're comfortable sharing. So anyone will be able to see your LinkedIn profile and anyone will be able to read what you have there. So just, if you're hesitant, if you're not sure about one information, maybe because it's confidential, maybe because you feel too vulnerable to share that, maybe because it could put you in trouble with your current company or a previous client, just don't mention this information, okay? You should be in peace, feeling very good about every information you share on LinkedIn. And remember that your goal using the platform, what you want to achieve, should be always clear to help you to decide which information to share, right? So if you want to land a remote job, for example, every information you share in your profile should help you to be seen as a good candidate for remote jobs. Every comment you make, everything you share in your profile, every interaction you make should help you to achieve your goal on LinkedIn. So choose the information you want to share. This is so important. I see a lot of people doing it wrong, but not you, because now you know about it, right? Another important thing that you need to know is that when you have a limited number of connections on LinkedIn, few connections on LinkedIn, your visibility will be limited also, right? I'm curious to know how many connections do you have on LinkedIn at the moment, approximately, if you know. What is it, like 500, 200, 5,000, 1 million? So let me know in the chat how many connections you have on LinkedIn, right? How many people you are connected to. And then I have a question while you write on the chat how many connections you have. I have a question for you. And the question is if numbers matter, right? If it is really important, like, why do you care, Julian, how many connections I have on LinkedIn? Well, I care because it really matters. When it comes to networking, when it comes to visibility, it does matter because, as I mentioned here before, the more connections you have, more visibility you have on the platform. Just check. Yeah, so I want to explain this here. LinkedIn will give you visibility to people until a third level degree. Let me see if I can explain that. If we are both connected on LinkedIn, okay, we are first degree connection. It means that I can send you private messages, you can send me private messages, I can see 100% of your content, your profile, and all of that. So we have the highest access level to each other's profile. Someone who is connected to me, my connection is your second degree connection. So you are not connected to that person, but you see some of the things in this person profile and feed and all of that. A connection of my connection will be your third level connection. So you see just a few things on that person's profile. Everyone who is not directly connected to you, or a connection of a connection, or connection of a connection of a connection, you won't have visibility on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn will give you 3 levels of connection, not more than that. That's why I said that few connections will limit your visibility. In other words, the more people you are connected, more the higher the visibility you have. And you want to have visibility on LinkedIn, definitely. So numbers matter. It's not to to go accepting everyone on LinkedIn without any criterion randomly, but remember that numbers will make a big difference, okay? Into the visibility you get, into the people you can reach out directly and all of that. Let me see, Shoshana said she has more than 500 connections. Good, good. And Lakshmi said, oh, 6,500. Amazing, amazing. The maximum number you can have of connections, direct connections, is I think 30,000. So girls, you too can keep working on it. You're doing great, but keep going, because you can go up to 3,000, 30,000 direct connections on LinkedIn. Okay. Then once you know those three basic things that I shared before, it's time to start attracting the right audience for your profile on LinkedIn to help you to get visibility, right? You have the numbers, the settings are okay. So it's time to invite people, to attract people to your profile, right? One way to do it is talking. When I say talking, I mean sharing about it. It can be talking on a video, but can be on a written post, can be on a comment. Okay, so when I say talk, is not just talk, can be on written also. A lot of things on LinkedIn happen written. So talk or write about the topics you want to be recognized for. And please do not engage with any kind of content, any kind of other kind of content, right? So if you work as a project manager, you want to keep working as a project manager, you want to be hired as a project manager, you want to increase your networking as project manager, what should you talk about on LinkedIn? Politics? Layoffs on a tech company? Anything that is not project manager? No. And I know I'm being a bit extreme here. It's just, to make it easy for you to understand. Of course, you can talk about whatever you want on LinkedIn. You choose the topics. But remember, if you want to attract the right audience, you should at least talk more, significantly more, about the topics that you want to be recognized for. So when people think about your name, they're like, oh, that's what she talks about. In my case, like Juliana talks about remote jobs, about career. You should be just like that. People think about it automatically. But if I start engaging with different kind of contents that are not at all related to what I want to be recognized as an expert, it gets confusing for people and for the algorithm also, right? So my suggestion is that you focus your time on LinkedIn to talk about things that, the topics that you want to be remembered for, and you forget about, at least at the beginning, the topics that are related to other kinds of content. Okay. When you limit your engagement in your content, so I will only focus on, for example, project manager, right? The example I gave, I will engage into project manager content. I will comment posts, I will generate posts about it, I will follow groups about it, I will attend events, LinkedIn events about it. When you do that, when you're limiting to one specific area, the consequences that people will associate you with those topics. It might take some time, but that's the end goal, right? The consequence. People will start associating you with that specific topic because you talk about it, you write about it, you comment about it several times. So it's not once. Repeat that until it fixes in people's brain that, oh, that's the guy that talks about project manager, right? That's the effect that's going to have. And then if they see you as an expert into that topic, people will start contacting you directly. And here I want to say this. When I say expert, people might think, but Julian, I'm not an expert. I'm just, just looking for a job. Like, I'm not really an expert in anything. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. If you have experience, if you stirred something, if you have the skills, you are an expert into something. So even if you're looking for a job, it applies to you. You are an expert in what you do, in your job, in your career, in your profession. So when you talk more about it, often, repeatedly about it, people start seeing you as an expert in that area, and then people will contact you directly for related topics, to hire you for a job, to hire your services, to invite you for a podcast interview, to ask your opinion about something, and so on. But then prioritize writing and engaging with content related to the topics you want to be recognized for. And at least for the beginning, don't engage with any other kind of content, okay? If you're posting things on LinkedIn, I know that not everybody posts content. You should, because the algorithm will give you much more visibility. If you are a content creator, people will start following you because they like your style, they like what you talk about, they like, you know, your content. So it helps in so many ways. If you are already posting on LinkedIn, I suggest that you dedicate some time to be on LinkedIn and to use the platform in the first hour after you posted, okay? Why is that? Because the algorithm is checking, evaluating if that content you shared is relevant, and if the algorithm, the robot, the machine behind LinkedIn considers this content is good, what is it going to do? Show it to more people, okay? So my suggestion is, let's imagine you posted something at 10 a.m. So try to remain on LinkedIn until 11 a.m. this first hour. And what do you do on this time? Use the platform. When I say use, is not a scroll down only. Reply to other people posts and comments. Engage with other content. Use the platform to write comments, to reply to the comments you might get in your content. So remain active during this first hour, because the platform, the robot of LinkedIn is kind of, let me check this content, let me see if it's good. And if the platform consider it's good, they are going, the platform, right, the robot is going to show that content for more people. So the first hour of any post is very important. So don't just post and run and disappear from LinkedIn, okay? Let's see different ways to maximize the time you spend on LinkedIn. Minimize the time and maximize the results, sorry. Because I get this comment very often, right? That it's like, Juliana, I don't have time to be on LinkedIn and on other social media. Like, I'm already too busy with my job and all of that. I just can't spend time on LinkedIn. So what are you asking for? This is not realistic. So I get you totally, but it's still, it is important to be on the platform. So let's see ways that with shorter period of time, you can achieve better results, okay? Let's see here. First, what I suggest is that you connect with your why on LinkedIn. Why are you on LinkedIn? Why are you using the platform? Another way to ask that, maybe to make it more clear, is like, what do you want to achieve by using LinkedIn? What is your goal? It could be things like, I want to land a new job, that's why I'm on LinkedIn. Good, that's a valid why, it's a valid goal. You can also say, I want to get more clients. I provide services, so I want to have more clients hiring me. Perfect. You can also say, look, I have a company, so I want to grow my company. I need more employees. I need to create my team, my staff. That's good. I want to be invited for, I don't know, presentations, for podcast interviews, for speaking gigs. So I want to get visibility about what I can talk about. Amazing. So you see, there are different whys, different reasons for you to be on LinkedIn. Any reason you have is valid, and it doesn't need to be the same that I have. I actually had different reasons to be on LinkedIn in different moments of my life. As I mentioned before, when I was a recruiter, my reason to be on LinkedIn was pretty much, I want to find candidates. I want to approach them. I want to find the right people to cover the positions I have open. So that was my goal at that moment. Then I was searching for a job. So my goal at that moment with LinkedIn was, I want to land a job. I want recruiters to find me. I want they to look my profile and say, oh, that's an amazing profile. So my end goal was to land a job, right? After that, I start doing some freelancer. So I was like, I want to find clients who want to hire my freelancer services. Now I have my own company. So it's like, yeah, I want to connect with people who might benefit from my services. So I'm looking for clients here. So you see that myself, I had different goals depending on the moment I was in my career. So it's perfectly fine if your goal today is something, but it was a different goal 6 months ago. Fine. Just connect with your why, understand the reason why you are on LinkedIn, right? Then I suggest that you book time in advance in your agenda. Book time for what, Juliana? Book time to be on LinkedIn. Make it like a daily task, or at least every 2 or 3 days, to be on LinkedIn. Instead of, whenever I have time, if I have time, if I'm not too busy at work, if I'm not tired when I get home, maybe on my way to the office or at my lunch break. This is not ideal because then it's like, if you have some spare time, when you prioritize networking on LinkedIn, it's recommended that you book time in your agenda. So it's there. You have 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 1 hour, whatever, to work on LinkedIn, to use the platform. So that's going to maximize your results, believe me, not just when you have some spare time, but you prioritize that. Then, when you start using the platform, you probably won't get the results you want super fast, right? There is a time for people to get to know you, for the algorithm to understand what you're talking about, for you to increase your connections, for people to start paying attention on you, for people to start following your content, engaging, all of the replying to the comments you write. So it takes some time. So my invitation is that you test the system that works better for you. Start testing out things, the time you're going to block in your agenda, the kind of content you're going to share, the format, how you're going to engage with people. Test it out. There is not one formula that works for everybody, so you got to test that. Okay. Also, another way to maximize the results you have on LinkedIn, even if you are online for a short period of time, is that your profile needs to be updated. It needs to be optimized. It needs to show the right image of you. This is very basic, I know that, but it's still like every single day I see LinkedIn profiles, and then I talk to the person, and the person like, oh no, but my LinkedIn is not updated. What? Like, how? Why? No, I'm not in this job anymore. I actually left 5 years ago. I'm in another job, but why this is not here? Like, oh, I see here that you don't have experience with that, right? No, I actually have, but your LinkedIn profile doesn't show it. Or, well, it says you were interested in this kind of job. Oh, no, sorry, I didn't change it in my LinkedIn profile. I want a different kind of job. So this is messy. This is a waste of time for you, for the recruiter, for your future clients, and all of that. So it's basic, but a lot of people make this mistake. Ensure that your profile is updated, optimized, and showing the right image of you. When I say right image, I mean your profile photo. Yes, that round one, right on the top of your name, but also the right image in the way you write, in the way you express yourself, the ideas you share, the stories that you share on LinkedIn. So your personal brand can be noticed everywhere on LinkedIn. So not only the photo, but the whole tone of your profile, right? Another way to maximize results, this is more less obvious. So some people might not be doing that already, but now you know it. So make sure you are doing it. Add links to your LinkedIn profile, external links, right? So people keep knowing about you, consuming your content, understanding who you are, what you can offer. So you can definitely add links your LinkedIn profile. And I always say to add a call to action, right? In the about. The about is, before it was called summary, now the name changed to about, is a blank area. It's a blank space on your LinkedIn profile. It's normally in one of the upper parts of the profile, so the visibility for your about is very high. And sometimes I read very interesting abouts, very interesting texts in the about, but at the end of the text, there is nothing. Like, you're not inviting people to make the next step and maybe contact you, maybe send you a direct message, maybe book a call with you, maybe connect with you to expand network. So guide the person towards what is the next step that you want the person to do. Okay, this is your responsibility. So you attract people to your profile, and you should guide them, like, okay, if you like my profile, this is what you should do next. This is what I'm looking for. This is the best way to connect with me. So play with that. Not everyone adds a call to action in the about, and not everyone adds links to their profile. So you can do that and also differentiate yourself from the competition. Okay. Then, of course, if you want to maximize results, this is a bit obvious, but again, I have to say the obvious sometimes, right? You need to engage with content and people. Engaging means commenting, their post, means liking their posts, mean sending a private message, means accepting their connection request. So there is a lot of things inside the word engage, but the main idea here is that if you just scroll down your LinkedIn profile and don't actually interact with the platform, the results you're going to get will be quite limited. Okay. You can also create content. I mentioned that before, but this is definitely a way to maximize your results because your visibility will increase a lot. So there are different formats that you can create content. Posts, they can be with photo, without photo. You can write articles on LinkedIn. Did you know that? That's a great way to show your knowledge and be seen as an expert in what you do. You can share videos. You can create polls so people can vote on it. You can share actually stories, not anymore. Yeah, I forgot to remove that. Stories were available on LinkedIn, but they didn't keep that. They removed this option. Lives on LinkedIn, like this one that I'm doing, and then test it out. Test it out. What might work for me, might not work for you. It's just you need to really test that and experience and see what works better for you, or something might work for a while and then it stopped working, so we need to change the strategy. Okay. Here in the comment we have this is really eye-opening, we need to feed the monster. Yes. Nice. Okay, Lakshmi is saying, very insightful. Can you please share the best hashtags that work better for IT recruiters? Nice question about hashtags. Look, the thing about hashtag is the same. It works the same way as in other social media, right? When you add a hashtag, you attract visibility of people who are following those hashtags or people who are searching for those hashtags. So I don't have a list of hashtags for IT recruiters, but I will say check the hashtags IT recruiters are using. So do the other way around. When you see an IT recruiter posting something or commenting something, check the hashtags this person is using, and then you give it a try and use it. Okay. So you see what people are using and you test it out for you to see if it works out well. Some hashtags will have very limited number of followers, some will have a huge followers. So play a bit with both and see what works out better for you. But follow those IT recruiters and see the hashtags they are using, okay? Or also hashtags with your job title. That can be helpful. So if you are a sales manager, you can test the hashtag sales manager because it's like the job title you're looking for. So it could be a good option also. A question here on the chat. After how many weeks do we access our activity results? If you're asking how many weeks it takes to see results on LinkedIn, it will vary, because if you do one action only and then you do no further action and you are expecting to have results, right? It really depends on what action you did and the result you're going to have. Normally, you're going to have to work a few weeks interacting, engaging, sending connection requests, posting contents to start seeing the results. It's not magical. There is a lot of people on LinkedIn, as you could see, the initial numbers, right? So to get visibility, to get traction, you need to do some noise in the platform, right? So it's not, oh, I posted one post, nobody engaged, nobody commented, nobody liked, then I have no results. No, you're going to need to post several posts and content and engage with a lot of people, write a lot of comments before you start seeing results. So I would say don't focus too much on how many weeks or months you need, but focus on how do I keep this as regular practice, so I create the habit of doing that, and how do I refine the process so I can finally see results, because it's a matter of time and it's a matter of the strategy also, how you do it, you know. But the thing is keep going. That's the main point. Okay. Back here, yes. There's a funny slide. If your feed is full of, right, this is your fault. Like if you are receiving posts and information in your feed and you're like, wow, that's so boring, I'm not really interested in any of those things, like there's nothing interesting on LinkedIn, well, that's your problem, because you are following the wrong people. you are engaging with the wrong content. So the algorithm is showing you the information that you're not interested. So it's your responsibility to clean up your feed on LinkedIn so you can unfollow people, you can disconnect from people if what they are showing is not relevant, is not aligned with your goal on LinkedIn, okay? And another practical way to get more visibility is think about the people you know offline, maybe people you worked together in your previous company, people you studied at MBA, people who were from your university. Think about your offline connections and then try to find them and connect with them on LinkedIn. That's a great way to expand your networking and get more visibility. Of course, not everyone will be on LinkedIn. I totally get that, but it's a nice exercise. Who are the key people in my career, in my journey, my studies that I know quite well? I had a good relationship offline, and see if you can connect with those people online. Okay, that's a nice way to go. And then if you want to narrow down and start networking in a more targeted way, like more intentional, not spraying and praying, connecting with everyone, like being more strategic, be more intentional, like thinking about who are the people I want to connect on LinkedIn. That's important. Okay. At some point, you should do this reflection. So, some suggestions for you to start this process is one, that you follow leaders in your industry or people with a similar career path. So if you want to work in the marketing area, for example, who are the famous, the popular, the influencers, right, into the marketing area, into the area of marketing that you want to work? Follow those people. Follow people who are working in companies and jobs that you want to work for. So they are where you want to be in the future, right? They are some steps ahead. So start following them, engage with them, follow their content, comment their content. So leaders in the industry and people with a similar career path, they are where you want to be in the future, right? Comment, repost, connect with them, send them private message. So follow the leader. That's going to be helpful. But again, you need to do it regularly, okay? Until people will start noticing your comments, your likes, your message. So it's not one time you comment, especially if the person is like a leader in the industry, probably the person has a lot of connections. So until you get visibility, you need to be smart in your comments. You need to comment often. So it's not one action. I follow the person, Juliana, that's it. No, follow is just one step. What about commenting, engaging, sending a private message? Try to schedule informal coffee with that person. So do it regularly, this interaction with people you want to network with. So people start noticing you, and also the algorithm will understand, so Juliana liked this person content, so let me show more. So it's easier for you at some point. You're receiving the person's content on your feed, so it's easier for you to engage with that person. And the algorithm will start at some point showing your content to that person if you are interacting for a certain period of time, if the person is replying back to you and all of that. So follow the leader is a way to narrow down your networking, okay? Another question here in the chat: should I go back and remove posts that don't relate to my goal? To tell you the truth, I think you can take this approach from now on. Don't worry too much about the past post. I mean, you can go back and delete, but I think you're going to make a better use of your time if you're posting new posts with the new content related to the goal that you have at the moment. So you can remove things, but more important than cleaning up the trail that you left on LinkedIn is to be very intentional about the posts you're going to post from today on, the comments you're going to make from now on, the people you're going to proactively send a connection request. So everything that you did on LinkedIn remains there, right? If people enter your profile and they click in activity, they can see every single like you did, every single comment, everything. But to optimize your time, I would focus on what you do from now on, and then be very intentional about it, very aligned with your goal. Does it help? Let me know. Because otherwise it's like, I'm cleaning up my profile for 3 weeks. I haven't posted anything because I don't have time. I would rather having you posting and commenting from now on in the right way. Leave the past there and start doing things properly now. I think it's more better use of your time. Okay. And sending connection requests on LinkedIn is extremely important. Okay. It's not necessarily the first thing you need to do. You can start commenting people's posts, get some visibility to them, get them know you, know that you exist, be familiar with your name, and then you send a connection request. Or in some case, you can send a connection request directly. You choose the order. But definitely when people send connection requests, you click in connect, right? And then there is a small window that will pop up, and then you can write personalized comments or not. So what I see when people do this, when people connect on LinkedIn, send a connection request, right, is basically two things. Okay, 95% of the connection requests, they will fall into one of those two situations. One is that people don't send a personal note. They just click connect. That's it. No, they don't write anything. It's just the connect button. It's the big majority. And the second thing that happened when people send connection requests on LinkedIn is that they already try to sell you something. Sure, you experience that, right? Or they are asking if you have a position for them. Recruiters receive that all the time. I receive that all the time as a career coach. Hi, Juliana, can you help me to land a remote job? It's like, I need a job. I'm struggling with that. It's like, hey, we're not even know each other. We're not even connected. You're already focusing on you, on your needs, on what you have to sell, on what you need. So this is a mistake. This is not the right way to approach people when you want to connect with them, okay? I don't feel excited when people say, hi, Juliana, can you help me to land a job? It's not the way. Let's connect first. And of course, I want to help you to land a remote job, but this is not the first thing you should tell me before a hi, before connecting, before establishing some level of relationship. So don't fall into those two buckets that 95% of people follow when they send connection requests on LinkedIn. So instead of that, put some time to research the person. Take a quick look at the LinkedIn profile, get some information about the person, okay? Try to put yourself on the person's shoes. Like, what can I write to make this person feels good? Can I pay a compliment? Can I refer to the post that the person posted this morning and I love the content? Can I say that I heard a podcast interview and it was really good? Can I say that I have been following your content for a while and I really like your perspective about something? So talk about the other person. It's not only about you, okay? Make the focus on the other person. Believe me, it's going to work much, much better. And then I'm going to finish with my 3 steps formula for you to write messages to people on LinkedIn, connection request messages on LinkedIn, and to increase the chances that they accept your connection request. This is the final thing I'm going to share here. If you have any other question or comment, let me know in the chat, and also one takeaway that you have from this presentation as we are going towards the end. So I would love to hear your takeaway and any question you have, okay? So to finish here, my 3 steps formula to help you to write a LinkedIn request, connection request, right? So first, start by writing the person's name. So instead of say, hi, ma'am, hi, hello, just say, hi, Juliana, hi, Jane, hi, Marco. It feels good. We are very used to hear our own name. So when you write my name, it feels like, okay, this message was personalized for me. This message was for me. It doesn't feel like a robot that is copying and paste the same message to 20 people, because that's not what you should do. So call the person by the name and be careful with spelling mistakes, okay? Some names have double letters, or, you know, the spelling is not the way you expect it. So just read how to spell the name and write it. It's gonna create a stronger connection. It's gonna sound more polite and more personalized, that connection request, okay? Also, step number 2 is ego, exceptionally good things you observed. So demonstrate in your connection request message that you took the time to get to know the person a little bit. You read her or his LinkedIn profile, you read the article the person wrote on LinkedIn, you read the post the person shared about a specific topic. So you know the person, and you show the person that you know her. The person will love it. It's like, wow, that's nice. you got the time, you took the time to know about me. So you can demonstrate that by mentioning something that you have in common. Maybe you both studied at the same university. Maybe you currently live in the same city. Maybe you worked in the same company, but in different periods of time. Whatever it is, if you have something in common with that person, make sure you mention it. Increase the connection very fast. Also, pay a compliment. I really liked the interview you gave to the BBC about genetics. Nice, you demonstrate you read the interview and that you liked the content. Make sure you do it. Again, make it about the other person. It's not asking for a favor, not yet. It's about the other person, okay? So ego, exceptionally good things you observed. And then the third and final step, as you have 300 characters, it's a limited connection request message. So call the person by the name, pay a compliment, say something that you have in common, say something good. And then third, ask only to connect with the person. So take the time to create the relationship. It's not the moment to ask for a favor, to say that you want to work in her company, to offer your service. You can do that later, naturally, as the conversation keep moving forward, but not at the very beginning, okay? So 1 hour passed already. Wow. Yeah, time flies when you're talking about something that you love. And I really like talking about networking, LinkedIn, helping professionals to land jobs and professionals to get clients. So I hope this information was useful. Let me know 1 or 2 minutes more here if you have any further question. If you what is your takeaway? What did you learn today from this presentation? Maybe one thing that you can implement immediately. I would love to read that in the chat. So for the ones who are watching live, for the ones who are watching the recording, thank you for watching until the end. I hope you also could take away something practical for your career, for your networking on LinkedIn. Here in the chat, we have, it's not about us, it's about the other person to win the attention for the perfect connections. Exactly. I mean, it is about you, right? Because you are intentionally reaching out to people that you want to connect. You have your career goals. You are strategically creating content that helps you to be perceived as an expert. So it is about you. But when you approach someone on network, then you shift your mindset, and in that moment, when you are with the other person, when you're approaching someone else, then it's about the other person. Because if you align, if you bring the other person to your connection, to your reality, to your life, then your goals will be relevant at some point, right? But you should not start with, I want a job. Can you help me with that? Can you, review my resume? I receive that all the time. Can you review my resume? It's like, why? Like, this is a service. I charge for that. Can you help me to get a job? Like, hey, let's go step by step. So first, it's not about you, it's about the other person. But once the connection is established, it's going to be about you both. That's when the magic happens, actually. Another takeaway here, that I need to be consistent and stay on goal. Exactly. Consistency will bring the results that you need. It's not doing it once or twice or for 1 week. It's a long-term game. Is it worth it? 100%. Totally. People get results on LinkedIn because they keep doing the right things for longer. It's not one time. So consistency and stay on goal. That's very good. Yeah. And 30K connections are possible. So if you're under 30K, go ahead and keep networking, expanding, sending connection requests, following my 3 steps formula, and you are on the right way. I'm going to finish the lives. Thank you once again for your time, for watching. If you have more questions, if you want to ask me anything about networking on LinkedIn, feel free to use the chat. I'll keep chatting the chat. The chat is open, okay? And if we are not yet connected on LinkedIn, please, let's fix that. Just send me a connection request here on LinkedIn and say, hey, Juliana, I watched your presentation about, your live, LinkedIn Live about networking on LinkedIn. So personalize the connection request. Remember, I mentioned that. And then I'll make sure I accept your connection, okay? Another comment here. Thank you for your valuable insights and your precious time. Thank you. Glad it was helpful. I'll see you next week for another LinkedIn Live. Take care. Bye. And implement all of that. Bye.